Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Today, I have a very cool, very special guest with me today. Megan, would you like to introduce yourself?
Welcome to the Honors Podcast.
Hi, everybody. My name is Megan Bartel. I'm an elementary education senior in the honors program. And yeah, I love the honors program. I'm excited to be here, excited to talk about it.
Do you remember when we first met?
I know that we've done a lot of honors stuff together, like through the panels and all this stuff,
Yeah.
but I don't remember the first time.
I remember first meeting you at the Honors Habitat Humanity build.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I remember that.
Yes. And I thought you were twins with that other girl
Yes.
who also had bangs.
Okay, so me and Leslie Pierce, Leslie graduated last year. She graduated early. But me and Leslie Pierce, as soon as she cut her bangs and I have my bangs, everybody compared us to being twins. And then there was another girl named Morgan who was also at the Habitat build, and we were like shocked because
Yes, Morgan in my grade.
Yes, everybody thought that we were triplets, and it was somehow the three of us ended up in the backseat of one of the cars that was going, and it was crazy. It was such a bizarre experience because I have never looked like anybody the way that I looked like those two girls. Beautiful. And we were all just like painting a house together randomly on a Saturday. It was so funny.
Yeah, it was really great. And I was like, dang, it was just some of the best bangs I've ever seen.
Thank you.
So, have you always had bangs? Are you a
No,
bang expert?
no. So I randomly decided to cut my bangs sophomore year of college.
Of college?
I was the only woman in my family who never had bangs. So my mom has had bangs since she was like 4. It's funny because all the photos of her as a child, she looks like a little boy with a bowl cut and bangs. And then my younger and my older sister had bangs. For some reason, I was just always the one that my parents just never wanted me to have bangs, and so I was like, oh, I'll try it sophomore year. And now everybody's like, I can't imagine you without bangs. And then all of a sudden, Leslie cut her bangs, and then I started getting compared to us being twins, and I was like, okay, well, I can never go back. We have to keep this bit up for the rest of our time together ever. It's become my thing. I can't imagine my face without bangs anymore.
I know, and it's a good 5th grade teacher look.
Yes,
so.
Thank you. I love it. I do get told that I have the face of a 5th grade teacher, so
Yeah. And then Leslie, y'all were hanged out a lot last year. Were y'all already friends, or was the bang bonding?
So we met in Prague, actually.
Oh.
So for those of you that don't know, Honors does a May Master, and between our sophomore and our junior year, I got to go to Prague with the Honors program. And so we did not know each other. We had obviously talked before just because we were both in the Honors program, both lived in Finch, but we met and started hanging out in Prague and then became fast friends after that. And then after Prague, she cut her bangs, and that was when the comparison started. So it was like a little bonding moment for us, and then we immediately were best friends and just kept it up. We're still in contact even after she's graduated. I still see her all the time. So, yeah.
That's great. I love having alumni connections.
Yeah.
Fun stuff. It's great. Yeah, I'm going to Prague this summer.
Oh, that's so exciting. It was the best.
Very excited. We had our global education orientation last week, and they were we talked about what happened last year with the scooters.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
They've officially banned them as part of the health insurance plan.
I'm not surprised. The thing about Prague, which was funny, was our year was the first, so we were kind of the trial by fire lab rats. And so we were we figured out everything, we've got it all down, next year it's going to be perfect. And then the scooter incident happened, and I was like, oh my gosh. But, being in a foreign country, it's all good. It's fun, and it's trial by fire every year.
I know. And then once they mentioned the bone churches, I was like, there's what?
Yes, I know. Prague was such an amazing trip because it was just so out of the expectations that everybody had, because when people think of Europe, they think of Paris and Italy, and that's it. And Prague is it's so historically rich and architecturally interesting, and you are still you feel safe and everything, but you're getting to explore this stuff that's so far out of the realm of our little High Point bubble, and like even like people that were from like New Jersey or like whatever, like places where there were big cities nearby. It was just such a unique experience. So we were all just kind of out of our comfort zone, which I think made it better.
I know. I'm so excited too because it's been randomly showing up in like different literature I've been reading for classes this semester, especially my one theater class. Like a lot of theater stuff happened in Prague with like the circus and all this stuff.
Yes. One of my favorite things that we did at Prague was go to the circus because they had performers there. And it was like, I was expecting like the, like the like elephants and the like carousel and everything. It was not. It was a performance. It made me cry. It was beautiful. I went twice. So we went with the program and then I paid to go again. It was amazing. So like it's they've got everything and you're going to have a great time. It's so fun.
I'm so excited. So you mentioned you're an elementary education major, which is a really cool program we have here at High Point University. It's like unique in how it's run.
Yeah.
Could you speak on that for our listeners?
Absolutely. So the reason I chose High Point's education program specifically, I looked at other programs, but High Point stood out to me because I got to be in the classroom from day one. So freshman year, first semester, I was taking a practicum where it was called Introduction to Teaching, but I was in an elementary classroom just observing, just kind of like getting the feel for what's it like to be in a classroom, how are things run, and then pretty much every single semester since then, I have been in a placement. So either observing or like, slowly starting to do some lesson planning, teach some lessons. And I've been in all different grade levels. So I've been in every grade level from first grade through fifth grade. And now I'm doing my student teaching in a fifth grade classroom. And I've been in there since August. And it's very rare for an education major to be able to have the same placement for both semesters of their senior year. Usually you kind of just start in January and get thrown into it. But I've gotten to really like build a connection with my students, with my cooperating teachers, so that's been amazing. And also the support in the program is amazing. We have amazing professors who really care about us. And for EdTPA, which is this huge portfolio that I actually just submitted last week, so thank goodness. It's a lot of work and it's very like text heavy. It's a huge handbook that you have to go through. And a lot of other programs, they have you kind of like working through it by yourself. They give you the handbook and they're like, okay, here, figure this out. And you submit in March and you figure it out. But it's very technical. So we have a semester-long class going through the handbook with a professor who's taught about it for like 20 years. And then the second semester, we have a direct supervisor who's helping us build our portfolio, submit it correctly, make sure that we are addressing everything and all the rubrics and everything. So it's really cool because they have a really good balance of supporting you through your major and through all of these things that you have no idea how to do, but then also kind of pushing you to independently go out into a placement and apply the skills that you're learning in the classroom and like actually work with kids and make sure that you're passionate about what you're doing and like finding that kind of niche of like, okay, I found out that I really, really like teaching literacy and like ELA skills to kids. So that's something that I can go into a job saying, I have this experience. I have 4 years of experience graduating here in a classroom, which is so rare. So it's been an amazing experience at High Point.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool too. Like basically you went through elementary school again, like going through all the grades.
Yes.
Have you like found the grade you like want to teach or like one you really like?
I went into this year thinking like second or third grade, but I think my heart really is with fifth grade. Mm-hmm. I have had such a good experience with my kids this semester, this year. Age-wise, they're amazing because you don't really have to like wipe their boogers, but you can hold a conversation with them and they still, are excited to learn, and they're very passionate and they draw me little pictures of Snoopy that I hang up on my little wall. And the curriculum's really interesting. I'm learning a lot about because when you're teaching, you have to know the ins and outs of everything that you're teaching so that you can kind of become an expert and convey that information to the kids. So we just finished like a 7-week-long weather unit in science, and I learned a lot about weather that I didn't know. And then it's cool because I'm like kind of learning along with the kids. And then I'm like, my roommates are sick of me talking about weather because anytime we go outside, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a high pressure system, and like this front is moving in, and these are the types of clouds that are outside. So
do you know what happened 2 days ago? Like, why was it snowing in Georgia 2 days ago?
So I'm not sure about the snowing in Georgia, but I do know, like, with the hailstorm, we talked about that at length because now my kids are also experts in weather, and they love talking about it. And so it was just like
it's March.
Yeah, I know.
Why was it 36 degrees the other day?
I know. I'm guessing it was just a crazy cold front. I don't know. But we watch the weather report every morning, and we talked about, because a lot of people had hail this past Sunday, which the kids obviously came into school and they were so excited to talk about hail because they hadn't seen hail since we talked about it. And I was like, yes, connecting real world knowledge. It's so fun. It's so fun. Like, I obviously have never been as busy as I am now with lesson planning and with doing all this work and working full time, but it's truly a labor of love. I'm so passionate about it and so joyful in doing it. So it's just been an amazing experience.
I know. It's like, I'm in passion watching you talk about it. You're like glowing, like so excited about it.
Yeah, I love it. It's definitely, even if I wasn't sure going into this year, which I've been confident in my choice for education since like sophomore year of high school, but even if I was not sure, this past year has definitely made me love it even more, which is good. It's good going into graduation knowing that I'm doing what I want to be doing.
I know. That's great. And unfortunately, not everyone can say that.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad you have that going for you.
Thank you.
That's good. So you mentioned you knew that since sophomore year of high school.
Mm-hmm.
What was going on then? What was the epiphany of I want to be a teacher?
So my sophomore year of high school, I got the very unique opportunity to go on kind of like a Maymester, but a little bit shorter. It was a 10-day trip with my high school to the Dominican Republic. And this was, it was kind of like an independent research opportunity. So instead of going on my spring break, I went to the Dominican Republic with about 20 other students, and I was doing independent research about, we got to choose any topic. I chose childhood education and like kind of comparing elementary education in America to what was going on in the Dominican Republic, because I had no idea. So I did some preliminary research before going, and then while I was over there, we were helping build houses, build latrines. We were kind of doing like a Habitat for Humanity type thing where like we were painting and building the houses. I got to mix a bunch of cement, which was really cool. But then on 2 of the days of my trip, I actually got to go to an elementary school, and I was one of the only students who was able to speak Spanish, and they speak a dialect of Spanish, so I was able to communicate. But when I showed up with another student, I was expecting us to just kind of sit in the back of the class, observe what was going on. I could take some field notes and like figure out what their class is like. But we showed up, and this other student that I was with did not speak any Spanish. And we show up, and the teacher goes, "Okay, they're leading the class today." And I said, "Oh no, I don't know what I'm doing." And so we walk in. There's probably 15, 20 Dominican students, and I'm like, "Hey guys, like, what are you working on?" And we sat there for an hour while the kids were, you know, drawing us cows and drawing little people and asking us about our families, and I was asking them about theirs, and they were playing with my watch and my rings because they're very interested. And it was just so fun because they were just so, like, you could just see the excitement and the passion and the energy in the classroom. And I had worked with kids before because I taught at my dance studio and everything, but like I had not had that experience of being in the classroom and feeling that joy for learning. They were learning about animals, and so they were drawing all the different animals they could name. So that was an amazing experience. And then as I was doing more research about the American education system versus the Dominican education system, I just kind of felt that little spark of passion of, okay, this is really important. Like, this is something that not only is fun and joyful, but it matters, and I want to be a part of it. So then I started looking at education programs, looking into how I could kind of get my foot in the door, and that's when I found the High Point education program, and I was like, okay, this is really cool. Although I had the passion, I didn't yet have the experience to kind of apply any of what I wanted to do. And so I was like, this is a really cool way to kind of get practical skills and kind of hone that passion into a craft that I can then go out into the real world and become a good teacher. So it was kind of like a slow burn transition from like, okay, this is really exciting to this is really exciting and important to this is something that's exciting, important, and I want to do it. Yeah.
That's good. Do you know the Japanese theory of life, Ikigagi?
I don't.
It's really interesting. It's where like, so Ikigagi is where you want to be in life. Mm-hmm. It's, I'm gonna look up the graph real quick. Okay. Here is a picture. So you have this theory of life and all this stuff.
Oh, wow,
so
that's
you have
cool.
what you love, you have what the world needs, you have what you can be paid for, and what you're good at. And then they overlap into different things to your mission and different stuff. And then when they all overlap, that is Ikigai.
I love that.
So that seems like this is
That's
your
really
EP
cool. Wow. I love that. I'm going to have to do some more research into that because that's a very interesting,
it's really cool.
Very interesting outlook.
I know.
That.
My choir director got me on that, and he was like, I hope y'all can achieve Ikigai. And he's just like a big, like middle-aged white dude. And we're like, what racially insensitive thing are you saying right now? But it was really cool. So I feel like you really achieved that. And that's kind of what you're saying. You've like checked off all those different boxes.
Yeah. I've talked a lot with my friends about, and like I was saying about how this year has really like cemented my knowledge of like what I'm doing is right and good and what I want to do. I've talked with friends like Leslie where she's in a program at Penn State where she's getting her PhD in criminology and she's very passionate about that. And like my roommate Chloe is, she just got accepted into grad school and she's going to be going for biomedical research and she's very passionate about that. Like I love surrounding myself with people who are like-minded like me where you know, you found your thing and you just want to go at it with 150% of your effort because you know that not only are you quote unquote good at it, but that it matters to you, that you have a greater purpose behind what you're doing. And I feel like you can really like tell when somebody has kind of found that and you can tell when somebody's on their way to finding it. And that's so exciting to be around. So I feel like to bring it back to the honors program, I have found so many people that are like that in the honors program that have, like, that's what I want to be around. That's who I want to be surrounding myself with because it makes me want to be better in my own unique pursuit of that.
I know. It's inspiring, too. Because, like, Chloe Cox is your student. Yes. I love her. And, like, you and, like, Emma Higgins, all these people, you just listen to them talk about their passion. And, like, you feel so inspired. You know what? I'm going to do that, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know. It's so exciting. Since you kind of mentioned there are different cool grad school outcomes, what do you have lined up for you in the world? Because I've heard it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited. So I got accepted into a master's program at Merrimack College, which is up in Massachusetts. I'm from New Hampshire, so I knew kind of going into undergrad that I wanted to go to a really good program, but then ultimately end up back in New England to teach because I want to be close to my family. And so this is like the perfect program. It's at Merrimack College, and it's a 1-year master's program in teacher education. And then within that program, you can kind of branch off into what you want to do. And so I was talking to a supervisor before I applied, and she was like, yeah, I really encourage people to challenge themselves to get their master's degree in something different than their undergrad. So I have my undergrad in elementary education. I'm going to get a license in elementary education. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go into English as a second language instruction, ESL. Because that's something that I've really found myself to become very passionate about. I work with a lot of Spanish-speaking students and students who speak Urdu, and there's definitely a need for ESL teachers in America because there's just such a diverse body of students that have unique needs, and so ESL is one of those. And so I will be getting my master's in ESL instruction by taking classes at Merrimack, but then also as part of an assistantship, I will get to be full-time teaching at a charter school for ESL students. So I am getting my master's for free in exchange for me doing that assistantship, which is such an amazing opportunity. And I will be doing something similar to what I'm doing now, where I'm full-time in the classroom. I'll be working with kids of all grade levels because it's an ESL placement. It's going to be totally out of my scope of practice. I will have no idea what I'm doing, but that's why I'm so excited because it's just going to be all new and all exciting. And at the end of the 13-month program, I will have a master's degree in ESL instruction, a bachelor's in elementary education, and then 2 licenses, one in elementary education and one in ESL instruction. So cool. It's a very exciting program. It's totally different than what I've done, and it starts a week after graduation. So
dang,
it's a quick turnaround, but I'm excited.
Do you have any relaxing plans for that 1 week?
It's actually probably going to be a lot of driving because my parents are flying down for graduation and then flying back up so that I can kind of like hit the stops of all of my friends that I want to see up on the East Coast. And thankfully, over the summer, I am taking classes, but they're evening classes online, so I'll still get to work and go to the beach and see my friends. So it won't be
that's good.
Nose to the grindstone for the whole summer, which is good. But it'll be enough to kind of get acquainted with the program and get started on building some of the credits that I need.
That's good. As long as you get to celebrate a little bit,
absolutely.
Your pass for your achievements.
Yes, absolutely.
That would be really great.
Yeah.
New Hampshire, are you planning to stay in there and teach, or do you have a state you'd like to end up in?
So New Hampshire, Massachusetts, somewhere in those two, because I have a lot of family up in Massachusetts, and then my parents live in New Hampshire, so I want to end up somewhere near there. Both of my sisters go to school in Boston. One of my sisters is in law school, and then the other one is a freshman at college. So just being around them is really important to me. My family's very important to me, and their education system up there is really good. So it'll be a different experience working in a school that is not North Carolina, because that's all I've really known. But that the experience of working in a charter school will be really cool, and then kind of finding a placement that is the right fit for me somewhere up in that area.
That was fun. I'm actually going to be in Vermont this summer
Oh,
for an
really?
internship.
What part of Vermont?
Brattleboro. So kind of the New England area. I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been that far north before, and it's like
Really?
it starts immediately after Prague, so it's lined
Wow.
up pretty well.
That's exciting. Yeah, New England is so small that like New Hampshire, the coastline is about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So we have 2 exits on I-95. You're in Massachusetts, and then you drive for 15 minutes, and then you're in Maine. You just pass right through New Hampshire. But I love it because, like, I can make a day trip to see my aunt who lives in Rhode Island or whatever. So Vermont is beautiful. My cousin went to school there, and I've been there. They have really good Ben & Jerry's because the Ben & Jerry's is from there. So make sure to stop into the, like, factory or the first Ben & Jerry's, because they have, like, legit really good ice cream.
Ooh, that's good. I'm really excited. It's going to be a good summer lined up.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. So when you were in 5th grade, what was your favorite thing to do in PE?
Ooh, and PE. Oh my gosh. Actually, I have a good answer for this. So my PE teacher was the best in 5th grade. Coach Collins, shout out. Oak Hill Elementary, Severna Park, Maryland. He was amazing. And this is such a niche thing, but we had tournaments for cup stacking. Did you ever do that?
Yes.
Okay, so we had
Were they regular size cups or the bigger ones?
They were both. So, and we had small ones.
Oh.
So he was legit about cup stacking. We had the mats that had the timers, and so it would be like the and so we had school-wide competitions. We also had school-wide competitions for DDR, Dance Dance Revolution. Did you ever do that, Jim?
Maybe. I remember doing like Just Dance and stuff.
Not Just Dance. We had the floor mats where it was like it's the thing that has the arrows. We had like school-wide competitions for that. And obviously as a 5th grader, you're going to dominate over like the 1st graders.
Absolutely.
I so competitive. And I just remember like the week before we would have our cup stacking or our DDR like tournaments, I would get no sleep. I'd be like, I gotta lock in. Like, I need to do this. It was like I was like training for a marathon. And that was like, when you think about like PE, you think about like running the pacer, running the mile. Like, cup stacking is truly, I don't know what standard he was meeting by having us do that. I don't know if he just found some enjoyment of seeing us struggle to stack cups, but that was like my favorite part of PE. And it's like a memory that was locked in my brain until I worked at the Boys and Girls Club. And last year they got those little like DDR machines with like the floor things. And I was like, oh my gosh, I remember doing this. And it was like a beast had awoken inside of me. I was like pushing kids out of the way. I was like, let me do it. I was beating them every time. It became like a thing of like who can beat Miss Megan at DDR. Nobody could.
Oh, you still reign supreme.
Yes, still very competitive, still reigning supreme. I just remember vividly learning Girls Just Want to Have Fun on DDR, because then it would play the music video too as you were doing it. Ooh. Oh my gosh. It was just, I mean, there's nothing like a 5th grade gym class. It's amazing.
Agreed. Good times.
It's so fun.
I remember my thing was always like capture the flag.
Yeah, that was fun.
So competitive.
Also those like scooters, but aren't scooters. They're like the things that you sit on. They have the 4
just like
wheels.
The flat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those were fun, and we would play like dodgeball with those. Yeah.
Dodgeballs. Oh.
Yeah, we would play like dodgeball on the scooters, where like you have a dodgeball in one hand and you're holding onto the scooter, and
did you like run the bases on the scooter?
Dodgeball, not kickball.
Oh, dodgeball.
9 times out of 10, when you're holding a dodgeball with one hand and holding a scooter with another, you're gonna tip and you're gonna fall over. And I also think that was just our gym coach, having a laugh at us and not actually like wanting us to do anything fun. Yeah. Oh my gosh, elementary school gym, that was a time.
It was a time for sure. It was great. Do they still do PE?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
that's good.
So they definitely do PE. It's funny, our PE teacher at the school that I'm teaching at is amazing. She is just she's so good at making it fun, but also incorporating, like, learning into PE, which is so important, like, having kids understand, like, muscle groups and how to take care of themselves, and health and all of that. So she does a really, really good job with it. And I always ask the kids, I'm like, did you like PE? What did you do today? They hate jump roping for some reason, even though I loved, like, the, like, jump for, like, the Heart Foundation donation thing. That was a big thing when I was in elementary school. I don't know if they do it anymore, but they hate jump roping, but I love it. Again, super competitive.
Have you ever watched the, like, jump roping videos with all the stuff? It's a whole thing,
well,
like, performance.
Have you seen Jump In, the Disney movie? You have homework tonight. You have to rewatch it if you haven't watched it recently. Corbin Bleu is fantastic in that movie. It is so good. Keke Palmer too, so good. And it's about, like, the competitive jump roping where they're double dutching as a team. Amazing. Amazing. I feel like the most fun part of 5th grade is, like, I, like, revert back to my 5th grade self when I'm teaching the kids. Like, obviously I have my teacher presence, but then I can, like, kind of turn it off and be like, oh my gosh, this is fun. And I love educating the kids on the culture of when I was in 5th grade. So I was showing them Magic School Bus stuff. I was showing them, like, Conjunction Junction and, like, you know, like, the stuff from when we were in elementary school that, like, they don't really know about. I love incorporating that old, quote-unquote old stuff because they think that I'm, like, 100 years old. And, like, educating them on, like, this is what I did in gym, and, like, this is so fun. And I don't care if they think I'm lame. To be cringe is to be free as a 5th grade teacher. So it's very fun.
This reminds me of I loved my 5th grade teacher, too, Miss Rogers. She got pregnant the year I was 5th grade teacher, and, like, I remember going in first grade, like, and she was talking about, like, her, like, life dreams and all this stuff. It's like, she's gonna get pregnant this year, she's gonna have a child, and she did. Months later, that's a whole side plot. But anyway, we always did Go Noodle every week.
What's that?
I don't even know. It's like Netflix kind of. There's like you watch videos, and there's this one song, Peanut Butter in a Cup. And you, like, get up, and it's a follow, it's like, peanut butter in a cup. We sing this song to pump us up. Bang, bang, choo-choo train. Come on, Megan, do your thing.
Oh, my gosh.
And it's, like, a whole thing.
So fun.
And there's, like, mama llama on the loose, turtle little.
Oh, my gosh. That's the type of stuff that you, like, remember for the rest of your life.
Yes.
Like, those, like, sing-songy, like...
I don't know. And all the weird, like, TV shows, like, lower elementary, like, first, second, third grade, these weird TV shows we watch. I remember we watched Caillou a lot. And to this day, I was like, what was that show?
Yeah.
And there's all these, like, memes today. It's like, he actually had cancer. He was a cancer child.
Yeah. I didn't watch Caillou, but I watched a lot of, like, PBS growing up. Like, and I went on the website and I played the PBS games of, like, they would make games for each show. That and a lot of Disney radio. That was...
What is Disney radio?
It was a radio station that you could turn to that just played, like, DCOM music or, like, Disney music. And it was, like, curse-free. My parents loved it because they could just turn it on and not worry about, like, something explicit coming on. Because we were in, like, 3rd grade. And we loved it because it was, like, all, like, High School Musical and Hannah Montana. And that was all that I needed in life was just High School Musical and Hannah Montana. I was happy with my life. And the Jonas Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, like, old school.
That's
like before.
Don't say that.
Like that's like
so old.
Yeah, I was not raised on that. Like everything for me was like Jessie, and then like Phineas and Ferb.
That's so crazy. We're only like 2 years apart.
I feel like it's 3.
3? Oh God, I'm so old. I'm graduating. It's so old.
I know. Hey, don't feel too bad. I'm like giving tours to kids born in 2010.
I know, it's insane. Well, the kids that I'm teaching now were born the same year that Frozen came out, like Frozen the movie. Yeah. One thing about working in education is you're going to realize how old you are very quickly. You're going to date yourself immediately.
And they remind you frequently.
Oh, yeah. Kids will ask me, anytime one of the kids asks me, how old are you? I say, what do you think? The same thing with, like, how tall are you? What do you think? With how old are you, it's funny because 5th graders kind of have, like, an idea, so they'll say, like, 25. But when I worked at the Boys and Girls Club, I worked with K through 5. And so the kindergartners would be like, how old are you? And I'd be like, guess. And they'd be like, 57? And I'd be like, older, actually. I'm like 257. Because I just play into it and tell them that I'm just, like, immortal and that I will live forever. But kids have no concept of age. So they will really humble you with their guesses. They will really. I mean, I got ages 10 to 60 like as guesses. So, you know.
Got it all covered.
Yeah, they really humble you. It keeps you down to earth.
That's good. Yeah. I definitely appreciate that when I was doing my volunteer work at Peak, which is like an honors volunteer thing we're partnered with. And like, I really appreciate working with kids. I don't really want to work in education. Nothing against it or anything.
Yeah.
I just don't want to do it. But there's so much value in like being around kids.
Absolutely.
So I've definitely like incorporated that into like what I want out of life. Like I still want to be around kids and like have them in my life because they keep you up to date on things too and all that stuff. Because I don't know what it is about kids. You just like they're just naturally on the forefront of everything.
Yeah,
and
I think it's just because they have this brutal honesty and they also just have this sense of curiosity that hasn't really been squandered by anything.
Yeah.
They have this love of learning, whether it's about something like I have one student that if I asked him right now, he could tell me every single event, timeline, person involved in World War II. Like he has just this keen curiosity for what happened in World War II. And I love it because he's now an expert. And I told him, I was like, when we get to World War II in history, like you're going to be a guest speaker and you're going to talk. And I have one student that can tell me every single player in the NFL right now. Like they have this, like, they have just such a yearn for knowledge that I love. And it's refreshing to be around because obviously I need my adult time. Like when I come back from a full day of teaching, I need to like sit in silence for 30 minutes and then be with my adult roommates and have some adult interactions. But being around kids is just so refreshing because they are just so excited to learn and to be experiencing new things because there's so much they haven't experienced yet.
All right, this is a great transition because I really, since you are education, and I've been asking a lot of our guests about like, what is the point of education and all this stuff?
Yeah.
So since elementary, we'll talk about that at that level. What's the point of education and like, how do we structure the system around this like natural urge for kids to learn?
Yeah.
Getting into like honors philosophy.
That's a really good question. I think the purpose of education is taking that intellectual curiosity and multiplying it times a million. Like every single student that comes into the classroom has a love of learning for something. And I think my job as an educator is to find that and find that untapped potential of like, okay, they want to learn about this, they don't have the skills yet. My job is to give them the skills so that they can then go out and learn, they can go teach others. I really, really believe in student autonomy, student self-sufficiency of I want to just give them the skills and teach them the information that they need to then go out and find more on their own. I don't want to just hand feed students information and then have them recite it back to me, give them a unit test, and we're done. I think the purpose of education is creating lifelong learners, not just educating them based on standards and then having them move to the next grade level and then eventually graduate high school, college, and then just do whatever.
Yeah.
I think that intellectual curiosity is so important. Going along with that, I think caring about students as people more than just as learners is really important. Understanding that every single human being has a unique perspective, a unique outlook, a unique set of experiences that is informing how they're learning, what they're interested in the classroom, what they're going to end up doing in life. So I think understanding that and really appreciating it, not looking at it with a deficit mindset of, oh, this person can't do this, or this person they're not going to be able to do this because of X, Y, and Z. Looking at it as, okay, this is a learning opportunity. I'm so excited. I'm being challenged as an educator to find creative ways for these kids to learn. I have some students who are learning English, so how can I incorporate the first language that they already have into what I'm doing in instruction? Right now it's Ramadan. I have a lot of Muslim students. More than half of my class is fasting right now. I have not had experience with Ramadan fasting. I didn't know anything about it. I've learned so much in the past 2 weeks. I've learned a lot of Urdu words. I've learned about their prayers and their fasting and all that stuff. So I think like really caring about people in your classroom in education and then taking that and using it to engage them in instruction, teach them things that they're passionate about that they will need to succeed later in life, to give them the skills that they can then apply it independently. That's like the core of what education is. Not just spewing out information and having them recite it, but really having them, like, helping them find their passion.
Yeah.
And then being like, okay, go do that.
Yeah. What are the challenges you see with that, like with the system or like in your own school, that you hope that we need to change and overcome for the future of society?
I think definitely a challenge is, at least for me, I think a challenge is finding the balance between pushing students to be independent and wanting to help them. Because I am so passionate about students succeeding that sometimes I'll get in the way of them succeeding. I'll see a student, especially like with my ESL students, my English language learners, or students that are struggling academically, I will give them a challenging problem and say, okay, you need to solve this. And then I'll see them struggling, which is part of the learning process, and I'll step in and be like, okay, how can I help you? How can I assist you in the process of getting to this answer? And I think that's true for everything. It's when we care about someone, we want to see them succeed, and sometimes we can get in the way of them succeeding by trying to help them versus letting them engage in productive struggle, letting them work through it, and getting to the answer on their own. Because then if they don't struggle, they're not going to learn anything from it, and they're not going to be able to do it the next time that they are presented with a challenging problem. So I think in a lot of ways, education kind of gets in the way of learning by trying to make it easier. I think that sometimes the way that we're teaching students can make it a little bit less challenging for them. We don't give them as much problem-based learning, and we give them more read this article and what did it say, instead of read this article and why is it important. And then kind of students are learning to not challenge themselves, which is so important. If they don't have the intrinsic motivation, if they can't challenge themselves, then later on down the line, they're going to really struggle. So I think that, at least in my experience, something that we need to be more aware of is setting high expectations and expecting follow-through. And that doesn't mean not giving students the tools to do that, but it means not getting in the way of them using those tools. So we prepare students for what they need to do. We give them the skills, we give them the materials, we give them the instruction that they need in order to challenge themselves, but then let them challenge themselves. Let them struggle through it. Let them engage in productive struggle, because that's the only way that they're going to be able to succeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like, turning it on you, do you feel like you've applied that in your own learning here at High Point, especially within the honors program?
I definitely feel like I have. In the true honors mindset, in high school, I was like very much AP, straight A's, like trying really hard to just be the perfect student. And I got to High Point, and my first semester freshman year, I was freaking out, because I was taking classes that were challenging me in ways that I hadn't been challenged. One specific one that I remember was I was taking calculus. And I am not a very STEM-minded person, or I didn't think that I was. I'm more of a literature, history type of person, and so I was challenged. It was hard. I had to study for the first time in my life. I had to go to office hours, and I was like, this is hard. And ultimately, it made me a better student, because I learned how to study, I learned how to challenge myself, I learned how to ask for help. And then with this student teaching experience, with this full-time teaching, the transition was really hard. I had always been just a student, and transitioning from being a student to a teacher, or just a student to working full-time, it was like insanely difficult, because I just couldn't wrap my brain around, okay, like this is all up to me now. It's not like I'm just showing up for class. I have to be on my game. I have to be prepared. I have to know what I'm teaching.
Like there's no deciding to sit in the back of class.
Right. And I'm writing more than I ever have, because I have to write 20 lesson plans a week. And like, it's academically, it's very hard. Intellectually, it's very hard. But I feel like because I have challenged myself by taking hard classes and by taking things that are outside of the scope of my major as a student, I'm now excited and ready to challenge myself as a teacher. I took STEM classes that I was not anticipating taking. I took the Uniquely Developing You, where I was breeding zebrafish in a lab through the honors program. And I was like, this is going to be the craziest thing I've ever done. And it was, but in a good way. I was working with people who also had never bred zebrafish in a lab, and we learned a lot. So I feel like because I had the self-sufficiency to be able to say, okay, I want to challenge myself. I don't have these skills yet, but I want to have them by the end of the semester. that was how I was able to succeed as a student here at High Point. Not just staying within my comfort zone and being like, okay, I know that I like literature, so I'm just going to take classes about literature. Really, like, wanting to push myself, engaging in that love of learning. And I think that the only way that you can do that is if you're instilling those skills early on.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you came to High Point, great education program. What made you decide to do the honors program here?
Honestly, the honors program was an equal factor in me choosing High Point as the education program. So when I came here and I toured here, I was like, this is a beautiful campus, amazing food, fountains everywhere. Like, this is an amazing, amazing campus. It's exceptional.
Yeah.
It's extraordinary. But it really clicked for me when I went to an honors panel. I met Dr. Hedman. I heard him speak.
What was your impression of him when you met him?
It was amazing. I mean, I was like, I cannot get enough of this guy. My dad fell in love with Nito, and I fell in love with Hedman. He is there's just no describing his presence. He is so energetic. He is so fun to be around. The way that he speaks is just so unique. You just want to spend 24 hours locked in a room with him and just talk about life. Like, he is just so extraordinary. And so I heard him speak, and I was like, this guy knows what's up. And I heard about all the cool things that the honors program was doing, and I was like, this is really, really interesting. If you go to any honors event or panel or anything, they're always talking about how they want students who are excited about learning things that are just so out of the ordinary. And that was me. I was like, I want to learn stuff that I don't know. And I was like, this is perfect. And so then I applied, I got in. And from day one, it's just been an amazing experience. I got my roommate pairing. Shout out Gracie. We've been roommates since freshman year. We're roommates now. And I was living in Finch, having a great time, taking classes like Here Be Dragons, where I was showing up to couch at 11 o'clock at night to put in a code into a computer and like all that stuff. Are you guys doing that still?
Code into a computer?
Okay, so my year, again, like lab rat year of our class was just like the first for many, which was very exciting. a lot of trial errors. Our version of Here Be Dragons there was a room in Couch Hall, the engineering building, and we were only allowed to go to it after business hours, which a lot of people just ended up going at like 11 o'clock midnight. And in that room, there was a computer. It was decorated like crazy. There was like a map with like a bunch of pins everywhere, and there was like plants, and there was a globe, and it was just, I can't even explain it. It was very creepy looking because we were only there at night. And so you go in, no windows, so stuffy there. There's a computer, and then there's this weird, there was a keyboard underneath it, but there was something covering the keyboard where it was like a little, like, it was like almost like a game controller where you can move it up, down, right, and left.
Like a joystick?
Yeah. And every week, it would give you information, a clue, and you had to find the coordinates that were the answer to that clue. So it was like giving you very vague stuff, and you had to find the exact coordinates. And then the following week, you would go to the room, put in the coordinates, and it would give you the next clue. And so we were put into groups, and our group had to show up, put in the coordinates, whatever. So we had to work together. And at the end of it, it was like, because the whole idea of Here Be Dragons is like the map of the South, the map of the universe, the map of whatever. So it was like kind of just going along with that map motif. And at the end, we got coordinates for where the others were. And then we had to like prepare a gift and a presentation for the others and whatever. Like we had to contact them basically. And so like that type of stuff, I was the phone calls that I sent to my mother freshman year, she was probably thinking that I was like kidnapped and taken to another planet. Because I was like, I'm going into this engineering building and in this random room, and I have to contact the others and I have to give them the coordinates. And she's like, what the heck are you doing in this program? And then the next semester I was like, yeah, I'm breeding zebrafish. And like, she was like, what the heck? But it like that type of stuff is why I chose the honors program, because I was hearing from students that had been in the program, they're like, this is amazing, like we're doing all this cool stuff, and I was like, I want to be a part of that. I want to be in it, and I want to be contributing to it. And now I love talking to prospective honors students, because I just can't emphasize enough how this is the best choice. Like, this is the only choice. Dalila is a freshman right now. I don't know if you know her. Dalila Zavala. She's an education major. And I interviewed her last year. with a couple of education professors. And it was funny because I was battling with one of my education professors, Dr. Cavendish, because she runs the education fellows, and I was representing the honors program. And so any student that was coming in, we were like duking it out of like, who's going to win this student over? And Delilah came in, and I was like, you have to be in the honors program. You have to do it. She wasn't going to be able to make it to one of the panels, but I was like, you need to come talk to somebody, like, please. And so she left the room, and I realized I didn't give her an invite to, like, the panel where it had Dr. Hedman's email on it. So I literally left the room and chased her in my little pantsuit. And I was like, please email me. Please email Dr. Hedman. Like, please, you have to come to the honors program. And so she emailed me later that night and was like, hey, like, love talking to you. It was so amazing. Like, thank you for speaking to me. Do you, like, just because I'm curious, like, what do you love about the honors program? Why did you choose it over fellows? I still have the email in my, like, High Point email mailbox. I sent this poor girl, like, 5 full paragraphs of, like, this is what I love about the honors program. This is why it's important. This is why you should be in it. Like, you're the perfect person to be in the honors program because she's just so exceptional. And she was like, okay, thank you. And I was like, I probably scared her away for life because I just really, I can't stop talking about the honors program. Like, I love it. I love talking with my friends about the honors program. I love talking with prospective students, with my family, like everybody, because it's just this amazing thing where I love that Dr. Hedman says this. He says like-hearted people, not like-minded people. So, like, people who are from all different majors, who have all different academic interests, job interests, whatever, but at the core, the honors program is about people who care about learning, care about each other, care about this amazing experience that we're having. And I love that because it's so true. And you can just feel it when you're here, when you're talking to Dr. Hedman, when you're in Finch, experiencing the rundown kitchen making cookies for a scholarship weekend. Like, you can just feel the core of honors in everything that it touches, which I think is so special.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
I have a bipolar quote for you.
Okay.
I killed everyone. I keep wanting to do things with people, like going to bingo night and doing a movie marathon in the TV room, but I haven't even taken the time to study alone. I always end up studying with other people. In order to fully focus on my immense first week reading assignments, I decided to go into the library and sit by myself. Do you know who said that?
Was it me?
It was you.
What? Actually, yeah, that tracks. I was gonna say like that's relatable, but yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense.
That was you, your freshman year for Kill the Noise Challenge.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then here is the photo you took.
Oh no.
Of you in the library.
Yeah.
Bangless.
Yes, that is me without bangs, and you can tell because my cowlicks are out and happy to be there. Wow. Yeah, that's a blast from the past. I still have the same stickers on my laptop. That's really special. That's really special. They've changed the bottom of the library, too, because now there's, like, library stacks in between the tables. I remember that. That was from Colloquium,
I have no idea where that is.
Our challenges in Colloquium. Oh, good times. I feel so old.
And that was, like, one of the best things about the honors program, that initial class with Dr. Hedman. And he's so real with you. Like, here's the real deal. And that really, like, gets you into the mindset of, like, get outside your comfort zone. Go talk to that professor.
Also, Colloquium is like all about what I was saying about like building skills and giving students the tools that they need to independently succeed. Like with all of those weekly challenges, like challenge yourself to swap phones with the roommates so that you're not distracted by your phone while you're studying. Sleep more. Study like in a way that suits you. Kill the noise. Like I learned in my time at college, but in my time in the honors program because of that challenge that like I sometimes when I'm around other people, I can study, but most of the time I'm just wanting to talk to them and to hang out and whatever. So I found out that like I can't study in my room. I have to study in some weird little corner of a library or in Cottrell or like something. Like I've got to find somewhere to study. So like that's like practical skills that I would not have learned if I had not been given the chance to really challenge myself with the Kill the Noise Challenge. That's really funny.
I have another one for you if you want to see it.
Oh gosh, okay.
Do you remember who your Meet My Professor was?
I think I do. I think it was my biology professor. Was it? Yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Dr. Segura.
Yes. Oh my gosh, she was so good.
That was so fun. You were struggling in biology, and then she was so nice and patient with you.
She was an amazing professor.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dr. Segura. She doesn't work here anymore.
Fun.
She works at a different university. She was so sweet. And she was one that, like, she was one of those professors that you could tell not only cares a lot about her, like, academic research and about her profession, but, like, she cares about her students. Because I was taking, it was one of my general, like, education credits, so I was just taking regular biology. And it was challenging because I'm not a very STEM-minded person. And she, like, took the time to really just make sure that, like, she checked in with us about how we were doing in the class, but she also checked in with us of, like, how are you doing in your freshman year? Like, how are things going? What can I help with? So she was amazing. So she was, like, the perfect person to do the meet my professor, because she got to know me on a personal level, which was really special.
I know. That's really great. That's another thing I really love about this university is, like, our access to the professors and just the vibe of, like, yeah, let's go get coffee. Let's, like, hang out.
Absolutely, yeah. I still have, so my freshman year when I was taking calculus, I had Dr. Jenny Sharp.
Dr. Sharp.
I love her. And she was an amazing professor, went to our office hours all the time. Like, she really did a great job teaching me calculus, which I thought was impossible. But then also, like, she knew I was an education major, so freshman and sophomore year, she would, like, email me and be like, hey, like, this friend has a babysitting gig, or, like, this friend, like, she needs somebody to, like, kind of pick up her kid from school on these days of the week, and she'll pay, like, are you interested, whatever. So, like, she, like, was trying to give me opportunities to, like, meet new people, hang out with some kids that, like, I wasn't meeting through classrooms. So, like, the professors really make sure that they're, like, connecting with you on a personal level and checking in on you and making sure that you're good, that you're adjusted. Like, it's just so amazing. It really makes you feel special.
And it's so great. Well, it seems like you've had such a great experience here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing about all of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to end the episode with one final question, which is not my question. So I have a tradition where the previous guest has left a question for you.
Oh, good. That's fun.
And then you'll get to leave a question for the next guest.
Perfect. So
the previous guest has asked you, what does a meaningful college experience look like to you?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think a meaningful college experience to me is looking back on the past 4 years and not just remembering the fun things, but remembering the challenging things that I've learned from. So obviously I've had some amazing experiences like going to Prague or having fun times with my friends, but I think the really important and meaningful college experience has been where did things go wrong and what was the result of that? What did I learn from really challenging myself freshman year or struggling through a transition or, getting kind of discouraged or getting some really tough feedback? How did I change? And reflecting on like freshman year me with no bangs and senior year me with bangs. How are we different? Like, aside from the haircut, like, how have I changed in the last 4 years? And I think I've changed a lot, and I think that's a good thing. I think that the point of college and trying things out and being new to being an adult is about, taking everything that you're learning and that you're experiencing and kind of shaping yourself through it all. So I think that is, like, the hard times are, I think, some of the most important parts of my college experience.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
And then I'll pass this over to you.
Oh my gosh, I have to think of a good question.
You choose your color. With your color pen.
Oh, yay.
Right just below that one.
Okay.
And then we'll get some good ASMR.
Oh my gosh. Okay, wait, I need to think.
Yeah, take your time. Be whatever you want, as deep or silly as you want.